The film kicks off with a scene that will instantly leave you breathless and uneasy. Imagine this: absolute darkness, and a young woman desperately struggling against her restraints as a killer silently chokes her. This isn't your average horror movie jump scare. It's a slow burn of dread, a masterfully crafted atmosphere that'll send shivers down your spine from the very first seconds. This is how it all begins. This movie, guys, is a true 19+ masterpiece, some might even say a landmark achievement in Korean crime thrillers. And trust me, that's saying something. This goes far beyond your average Korean film. We're talking about a whole different level of intensity and realism. It is a film so real you won't know who the killer is until the very end. We're talking about a film that will make you feel like you're right there in the thick of it, grappling with the same questions and doubts as the characters. And what's even more fascinating is that the star of this film is none other than a famous Korean actor. Let me introduce you to the movie Memoir of a Murderer. Our main character, Old Kim, was once a notorious serial killer over 15 years ago. But one day, while heading home after committing a murder, he gets into a car accident. That accident wipes out most of his memories, specifically those related to his killings. All he knows is that he's a serial killer. So, for the past 15 years, Old Kim has been living a rather pathetic existence. Constant memory lapses mean he can barely take care of himself. Heck, he even puts his shoes on backward. Doctors diagnosed him with Alzheimer's, which makes him often wander off, resulting in his daughter, Eun-hee, constantly having to pick him up from the police station. One day, when Eun-hee gets home, she's glued to the TV news. A body's been found near the river. As Eun-hee is watching the news, Old Kim quietly creeps up behind her. After watching the news, Old Kim frantically runs to his room to check his shoes. He fears that he may have killed someone and then forgotten about it. Luckily, they're clean. Old Kim breathes a sigh of relief, but he notices that his daughter Eun-hee is getting ready to go out for a friend's birthday. He rushes to her, warning her that there's a killer on the loose in the next town, but Eun-hee doesn't take him seriously. After his daughter leaves, Old Kim also tries to access his computer, but due to his memory lapses, he has to try a few times to enter the password correctly. The reason for the password is that the computer contains all his memories, including records of past murders. Since Old Kim frequently loses his memory, he writes down the things that happen every day on the computer so he can quickly recall what happened when he forgets. As Old Kim is writing down the memories of the day, he flashes back to being abused over a decade ago. As a child, Old Kim had an alcoholic father who would beat him when he was drunk. After kicking him, his father would drag him into the room and continue beating him. So that night, he couldn't stand that kind of life anymore, so he suffocated his father. Then he secretly buried him. From then on, he stayed home and waited for the police to arrest him. But to his surprise, the police did not find out at all. At that time, he realized that many people like him were still living in boiling water, but the police were useless. At the same time, he also realized that the world needed a righteous killer. Old Kim starts acting as a vigilante, taking justice into his own hands by eliminating anyone who reminds him of his abusive father. Basically, he's taking out all these awful people that he thinks deserve it. And here's the creepy part. He buries all his victims in a bamboo forest. Yeah, bamboo forest. He refers to this gruesome act as cleaning up the trash. Afterward, Kim uses a voice recorder to write down everything that happened that day. This way, the next time he has amnesia, he can quickly find out what has recently happened to him by listening to the voice recorder. Now, get this. His daughter, Eun-hee, bless her heart, tries to help him with his memory loss by signing him up for a poetry reading. And Old Kim actually goes. The reader starts reciting the poems that Kim wrote, but the poems are all about life and death, and the man reading him poetry even used Kim's own poem to mock him as delusional. Then, out of nowhere, the man asks, "Did Old Kim ever kill someone?" Kim doesn't say anything. He just stares intently at the man. As soon as the session ends, a woman named Yeon-ju follows Old Kim. Turns out, she's fascinated by his poetry, especially the death metaphors. But Old Kim says they aren't metaphors at all, they're the truth. Yeon-ju gets even more intrigued, calling him interesting. Creeped out, Kim mumbles, "Should I undress you?" As he looks at Yeon-ju, and then he freaks out, jumps in his car and speeds away. As he pulls out his phone to record the day's events, bam, he rear-ends the car in front of him, popping open the trunk. Kim is shocked. He gets out to check the damage, and what he sees in the other guy's trunk is insane. It looks like a body wrapped in something, and it's leaking blood. While the other guy is still in his car, Kim grabs a cotton swab and soaks up some of the blood from the trunk and puts it in his pocket. At this point, the other driver gets out and walks toward Kim. They just stare at each other for a moment. The other man breaks the silence, closes the trunk, and says, "That was a deer that suddenly ran out. If Old Kim is alright, let's just let this go." But Kim can't just let it go because he knows there's a dead body in the trunk. And this guy could be the serial killer that's been popping up lately. For his daughter Eun-hee's sake, Kim wants the guy's contact information, and he gives the other man his business card. Kim never expected him to take his business card and drive straight away, completely unwilling to give Kim his contact information. So, Kim can only watch him disappear into the fog. Then, he pulls out his voice recorder and records everything that just happened. Old Kim gets home, and he's got to confirm his suspicions, right? He takes that blood-soaked cotton swab and sends it to a lab for testing. The results come back just as he thought. The blood type is O. This confirms his gut feeling that there was definitely a body in that trunk. Now, Kim realizes something even scarier. A killer's instinct is never wrong. He knows that Tae-ju is a murderer, but does Tae-ju know that he's a murderer, too? He can't believe this guy is so close to him. Could Eun-hee be in danger? He immediately heads to a phone booth, yes, a phone booth, and makes an anonymous call, reporting Tae-ju's license plate number. But here's the twist. The guy old Kim met that day is actually a cop named Tae-ju, and just like old Kim suspected, whenever Tae-ju is working on a case involving women, he likes to corner them in a secluded place and torture them to death in a brutal fashion. The police quickly trace the license plate back to Tae-ju and confront him. We've received a report that someone saw a body in your car. Did you kill someone? Tae-ju just laughs at this accusation. Meanwhile, back at old Kim's place, he's cooking when the phone rings. But Kim can't find his phone anywhere. Turns out, he mistook his phone for his lunch, and it's stuck to the frying pan. After scraping the phone off and answering, he finds out that it's Tae-ju calling. Tae-ju says he's calling to thank old Kim for reporting the crime. He said they inspected the vehicle and determined that the blood in the car was deer's blood. Kim is confused. He clearly reported the crime from a public phone. How did the police know his phone number? The policeman explained that the car owner gave them Kim's business card, but Kim is still skeptical. If the police can't be trusted, he'll investigate himself. So, under the cover of darkness, he goes back to the scene of the accident from the day before. He uses his killer logic, thinking, if I were the murderer, where would I dump the body? He follows his instincts and, sure enough, he pulls a body out of the lake. The bag on the body is the same bag that was in Tae-ju's trunk. The next day, the police are all over the case, reporting on the news. Tae-ju just watches silently. After work, he goes to old Kim's store. But old Kim's daughter, Eun-hee, shows up, and seeing Tae-ju standing in front of her dad's store, assumes he's there to check on her cat. Hearing this, Tae-ju also knew that she was old Kim's daughter through the way she addressed him. After Eun-hee leaves, Tae-ju starts secretly following her. Later that night, he pulls up to Eun-hee as she's walking alone. Eun-hee knows that Tae-ju is a cop because her friends told her, so she gets into his car without any hesitation. Thankfully, nothing happens on the way, but as soon as Eun-hee gets to her front door, old Kim suddenly jumps out and starts choking her. It's only when she cries out "Dad" that old Kim lets go. Old Kim is completely freaked out. He rushes back to his room because he knows his memory is fading fast, but his killer instincts are still there. He's even terrified that the car accident was just a figment of his imagination, and that he's actually the serial killer. So, in distress, he seeks out his sister. She's now a nun, and old Kim tells her his intentions. He has Alzheimer's, doesn't want to be a burden, and is afraid of hurting Eun-hee, so he wants to know if he can stay with her for a while. But his sister doesn't say anything. She just starts praying. Kim takes this as a sign of rejection, so he leaves a box of sushi and walks away. He then attends his next poetry class. Unsurprisingly, Yeon-ju follows Kim again as he leaves. She's clearly into him, and before he can get in his car, she jumps in the passenger seat. Kim is forced to drive home. Yeon-ju keeps inviting him to see a movie, but he refuses. But when she asks if Kim has any other hobbies besides writing poetry, Kim simply replies that he likes to kill people. But as soon as he says that, he slams on the brakes because he sees his daughter Eun-hee hugging a man through the window. He gets out of the car and immediately confronts Eun-hee, pulling her away. Tae-ju then introduces himself as Eun-hee's boyfriend and a policeman. Kim clearly has amnesia again. He only feels that the man in front of him is very familiar, but he can't remember anything. At this time, Yeon-ju sees this and quickly speaks out to save Eun. Come on, everyone, don't be so tense, let's talk slowly. After saying that, she pulls old Kim away, leaving Eun-hee stunned. But because he has lost his memory, Kim doesn't even recognize Yeon-ju. So, after walking for a while, he leaves Yeon-ju on the side of the road, takes out his voice recorder, and records what just happened. That Eun-hee has a boyfriend named Tae-ju, who is a policeman. After returning home, he goes to eat with his detective friend Byung-man. But old Kim forgot that the last time he ate with Byung-man, He asked him to help track down a license plate. So, when Byung-man gets into his car after finishing his meal, he says that he found out that the car belongs to a colleague named Tae-ju. Old Kim, standing next to him, clearly doesn't know what Byung-man is talking about. Seeing this, Byung-man also knows that old Kim has forgotten again, so he doesn't say anything and drives away. But as soon as Byung-man leaves, Kim feels that the name sounds familiar. Is this not the name of his daughter's new boyfriend? So, he takes out his voice recorder and listens to it again. After listening, he remembers that he is the killer. Kim is panicking because he knows his daughter Eun-hee could be in danger. He jumps in his car and races off to find her. But Eun-hee is at the movie theater. When she answers Kim's call, she just says she's watching a movie and hangs up. So Kim tears off to the theater. He searches all the theaters, looking for Eun-hee, and everyone stares at him like he's a crazy person. He finally finds Eun-hee's theater, but suddenly has another memory loss. He sits down and watches the movie. When the movie ends, he realizes he doesn't know when he came to the movie theater or why he came here. After thinking for a long time, he finally remembers that he came to find Eun-hee. After returning home, he explodes at Eun-hee, telling her to stay away from Tae-ju because he's a murderer. But Eun-hee reveals that she knows what Kim is talking about, but the truth is that Kim is the killer. On the day that they broke up, Tae-ju asked Eun-hee why Kim went to the lake that was the road they had collided on. At that time, Eun-hee said it was because it was near the bamboo forest, maybe he just went past there. The truth is that Kim really went to the lake, and she said that she was so scared to clean the mud off his shoes. Kim realizes that Eun-hee has been tricked by Tae-ju, but he has no evidence to prove it. So, Kim takes the bloodstained gauze to Detective Byung-man and asks him to test it, hoping it will match one of the victims and prove Tae-ju is the killer. Byung-man takes the evidence without saying much because he knows that Kim has Alzheimer's. He only says that he will take it back for testing, but the testing time will take a week, telling Kim to wait a while. After handing over the evidence, Kim goes straight to Eun-hee, who is about to go on a date with Tae-ju. Seeing this, Kim quickly pulls Eun-hee into the car. Then, he comes in front of Tae-ju and warns him to stay away from Eun-hee. If he gets close to Eun-hee again, he will bury him in a place where no one can find him. In the car, he warns Eun-hee not to meet Tae-ju for the next week. After that, he won't care if Eun-hee wants to date or marry Tae-ju. After returning home, he locks Eun-hee up and prepares several syringes containing lethal doses of medicine. Kim is clearly not going to sit around waiting for the test results. After preparing, he starts tracking Tae-ju. When Tae-ju parks his car and goes upstairs, he stays across the street to watch him. However, he waits until night, hoping that Tae-ju will fall asleep so that he can take action. He even had to use a bottle when he had to pee. But what old Kim doesn't realize is that Tae-ju knew he was being followed the whole time, so Kim never gets a chance to strike. As the night wears on, Kim's face suddenly starts twitching, and he drinks from his urine bottle, which is clearly a sign that he's about to lose his memory again. However, when Kim wakes up, he's already at home. He's forgotten who Tae-ju is, and that Tae-ju is about to marry Eun-hee. But Kim feels like he's met Tae-ju before, so he asks him directly, "We've probably met before, haven't we?" Hearing this, Tae-ju doesn't hide anything and says that it's true that they've met before, but every time they meet, Kim wishes them both well. Hearing this, Kim immediately returns to his room because he was completely pretending just now, and he remembers that he told him not to appear in front of his daughter again. But he doesn't dare to do anything drastic in front of Eun-hee. However, as soon as Tae-ju leaves, Kim looks at Eun-hee's neck because there's a bruise on it again. At this time, Kim thought that Tae-ju did it, but he didn't expect that he did it himself. He even rages on, asking why Eun-hee is seeing Tae-ju, since he told Eun-hee to wait a week. However, Eun-hee says that Tae-ju was brought home by Kim himself. Hearing this, Kim goes silent. So in the evening, he asks Byung-man if he got the blood test results yet. But Byung-man says that it wasn't human blood but animal blood. So he hands Kim the test results and leaves. Kim is stunned as he stands there holding the results because he knows this can't be true. He clearly tested it and found blood type O. If Byung-man is telling the truth, then is he the killer, and is it all in his imagination? Thinking of this, Kim is stunned. After thinking for a while, Kim falls asleep. But when he wakes up, he realizes that he has been tied up, and there is a man sitting in front of the computer. The man is Tae-ju. Tae-ju has now opened his computer and is changing the content. In other words, changing Kim's memory. He also says that Kim almost killed him, but luckily, he switched the blood sample that Kim took for testing in advance. Hearing this, Kim rages on, but can't do anything because he is tightly tied. Tae-ju also flips through the notes in the diary and is surprised to see Yeon-ju. Seeing this, Tae-ju also feels it's quite interesting that Yeon-ju wasn't killed by Kim. So Tae-ju picks up Kim's phone next to him and calls Yeon-ju, intending to ask Yeonju out. Seeing that the call has been connected, Kim is terrified and quickly says, "Wrong number," because he is afraid that Taeju will kill Yeonju too. After saying that, Taeju picks up a dropped medicine bottle from the floor because he's figured out how to kill Eun-hee. Use Kim's own medicine so that after the police find out, Kim can take the blame, including all the previous serial murder cases. Hearing this, Kim rages on, but in the next second, he is knocked out by Taeju. When he wakes up again, he finds himself sitting in front of the computer. Kim doesn't care about anything else now and rushes out to find Eun-hee. Fortunately, Eun-hee is still in the bedroom, not taken away by Taeju, so Kim disregards Eun-hee's objection and packs her things, wanting her to go to her aunt's house. That is, Kim's sister, for a while. When the taxi arrives, he puts Eun-hee straight into the car and tells his sister to take good care of Eun-hee. After sending Eun-hee away, Kim starts following Taeju again in the evening. At this time, Taeju is also driving to a strange place. Kim keeps following him to a house. Seeing this, Kim sneaks in, intending to attack Taeju. However, when he goes inside, he doesn't see anyone. While searching around, he suddenly finds a camera, and the content inside is a video of Yeonju begging for her life. Now that he has solid evidence, Kim gives the camera to Byung-man. He also recounts the car accident and the body he saw. Byung-man doesn't say anything as he listens. In the next second, a car drives up from a distance, and the person getting out of the car is Taeju. Byung-man also goes straight to the car to talk. After that, they start asking Kim if he had an appointment with Yeonju 4 days ago and called her. They said he still had the call history on his phone. Taeju also says that the camera probably has all of Kim's fingerprints on it. Hearing this, Kim gets angry. Taeju is clearly trying to bite him back. Taeju made that phone call. He wants to charge up and beat Taeju up, but luckily, Tron-chu stops him. At this time, Taeju also asks Kim where Eun-hee has gone. He hasn't been able to contact her for 4 days. Hearing this, Kim smiles because at least Eun-hee is safe now. But Byung-man, who is next to him, is anxious because if Taeju is telling the truth, then Eun-hee is in danger now. He wants Kim to tell him where Eun-hee is. Otherwise, he can only arrest Kim. Hearing this, Kim also has to tell him the location of Eun-hee, that Eun-hee has been sent to her aunt's house. However, as soon as Kim says this, Byung-man, next to him, sweats coldly, because Kim's sister passed away many years ago. But Kim completely doesn't believe it. After saying that, he intends to call his sister on the spot. But there is no phone number for his sister in the contact list. Kim is clearly panicked now. He immediately turns around to see his sister. However, when he arrives at the gate of the monastery, the scene before him seems to have been deserted for over 10 years, and the half-eaten box of sushi he ate last time is still on the chair. At this time, Kim also remembers that his sister hanged herself long after he killed his father. The nightmare breaks, and old memories flood back like a tide. It turns out that the last person he killed was his wife, because she had an affair outside, and Eun-hee wasn't his biological daughter. Just as he was returning home, he had a car accident intending to kill Eun-hee when he got home, but at that time he began to lose his memory for the first time, and from then on, he lived like that for more than 10 years. At the same time, the police have arrived at Kim's bamboo forest and started searching. Soon they found skeletons in the bamboo forest that had been buried for who knows how many years. At this time, Kim at home sees the voice recorder. He remembers that he seemed to have pressed the record button that night when he was tied up by Taeju. If that wasn't his hallucination, there would definitely be Taeju's voice inside. Just as he was thinking, 2 policemen suddenly came in to arrest Kim. Seeing this, Kim quickly knocks out the 2 policemen and then grabs the voice recorder and runs out. However, at this time, the space seems to overlap, causing Kim to remember himself in the past and dragging Eun-hee away like this. This makes him can't help but remember the scene of that day. It turns out that day, he dragged Eun-hee straight into Taeju's car, and the sister who didn't exist. He thought that the other party was a taxi. Remembering everything, Kim calls Byung-man, saying that Taeju has kidnapped Eun-hee. After that, he picks up the voice recorder and plays the recording of that night. Listen carefully. If you take the blame for my murders, I will think about how to kill Eun-hee. It has now been basically confirmed that Taeju is the real culprit. Seeing this, Byung-man can only pretend to be surprised, and then he finds a chance to follow Taeju. Taeju quickly arrives at that wooden house in the forest. Eun-hee is clearly also in the room at this time. Taeju goes in and tells Eun-hee straight out that her mother didn't disappear but was killed by Kim long ago because they had dug up her bones. The conversation between the 2 of them is also heard by Byung-man outside. However, at this time, Byung-man's phone rings. Frightened, Byung-man quickly runs to the warehouse before daring to answer the phone. It's a call from Kim who's on his way. Just as Byung-man is about to light a cigarette, Tae-ju suddenly appears behind him. Before Byung-man realizes it, Tae-ju strangles him. From then on, Byung-man dies. Tae-ju also threatens Kim over the phone, telling him not to come, otherwise he will kill Eun-hee. However, at this time, Eun-hee, hearing the noise, suddenly appears at the door. Seeing the corpse on the ground, Eun-hee is also stunned, so she turns around and runs away in fear, but Tae-ju catches her after running a few steps. After catching Eun-hee, Tae-ju also reveals his true face. It turns out that he is missing a piece of his head because he was beaten by his mother when he was young. His father also often beat his mother when he was young, but once, when he was protecting his mother and wanted to kill his father with his mother, he was almost beaten to death by his mother with an iron, while saying, "How can you treat your father like that?" Since then, he began to hate women, basically killing women if he had the chance. Just as he finishes speaking, he finds that Eun-hee, behind him, has disappeared. When he goes out to look for her, Kim suddenly appears and steps on the gas, sending him flying. After entering the room, he starts searching for Eun-hee everywhere. Fortunately, he finds Eun-hee in the corner of the wall after only a while. However, at this time, Kim suddenly loses his memory again. Tae-ju is speechless when he sees this, so he starts coaxing Kim to tell him where Eun-hee is. Kim, who is clearly a puppet now, points straight to Eun-hee's location. Seeing this, Tae-ju also takes out a silk scarf, intending to strangle Kim, but fortunately, Kim finally escapes. So he starts fighting with Tae-ju. The two of them fight for 2.5 minutes. In the end, Kim presses Tae-ju to the ground and strangles him, and madly stabs him in the chest with a glass bottle. When everything is over, the police also arrive late and take both Kim and Eun-hee away. At this time, the scene switches to the hospital. A policeman is interrogating Kim about the course of events, and everything that happened before is recounted by Kim. But at this time, the policeman asks Kim where Tae-ju is and whether he has escaped, because they didn't find Tae-ju's body in that house. But Kim says he can't remember. Hearing this, the policeman is also very helpless because Kim has Alzheimer's disease and often forgets things he doesn't want to remember. He also says that the voice recorder that Kim mentioned has also disappeared, and they have never seen it. Is all of this made up by Kim? As he leaves, he also says that Eun-hee is not saying a word now, as if she has lost her memory, and wants to see if Kim has anything to say. But Kim still doesn't say a word. Seeing this, the policeman also has to leave helplessly. When he gets to the door, the policeman's subordinate suddenly brings a report that is evidence to see if Kim has Alzheimer's disease. But the policeman doesn't bother to look at the curious subordinate and takes out the X-ray film inside to see. Oh, how disgusting. So this is what Alzheimer's looks like. As soon as the man says this, Kim is released. When Kim comes out, his face twitches as if he has epilepsy. Along with the twitching starting, the truth at this time also gradually becomes clear with Kim's memory. Turns out that everything was done by Kim. The initial body disposal was done by him. The car accident was also because Kim swapped his role with Tae-ju. Even Byung-man was strangled to death by Kim later. And Tae-ju, after being killed by Kim, was also pushed into the sea. And Tae-ju's missing piece of head was actually Kim talking about himself. When the truth is revealed, Kim's devilish winning smile also begins to appear on his face. Thanks for watching.